Welcome. Today, in this live stream today, we're going to talk about the benefits of using short-term video in your marketing and how it can help you achieve your business goals. Now, I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelmann. With me, as always, is Dr. John Paduchak and Dr. Kayvon K.
Hello. Can you hear me
And
now?
he has sound. He has sound. It's another miracle. So we're gonna basically talk about this because a lot of people they're under the impression that it's only long form videos that are going to work for them, and it's simply not true. Because the short term is where it's at, and everything is moving to shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter attention spans. Not the attention span of goldfish, because it turns out goldfish have a good attention span, providing they're really interested in the subject. Typically, fish food.
Yes,
they have surpassed us.
They have surpassed us. Yeah, exactly. Better.
We're evolving up. We're evolving down.
Goldfish are better than we are. So. Anyway, so let's take we've been doing, John and I have been doing a lot of short form video, and Dr. Kayvon K has been participating also in the attempt to create numerous things. In fact, we did a Zoom yesterday with John, and I posted it on TikTok as well as Instagram, showing John creating more videos from all the wonderful footage that he has stored on his iPhone. It's just one of those things, like you'll get around to it eventually. And so it's a question of creating a habit. So John, what's been your experience thus far? Because you've actually had quite a few successes with your RV stuff. Yeah,
I have. And I think I've had more success on Instagram than I have on TikTok.
Yeah, same here.
And at the very early stages when we were using YouTube Shorts, we weren't having a lot of success, but I haven't gone back to that again. So I think that's changed from what we've heard.
So why would somebody want to use short form video? That's the thing. What's the big why? And Dr. Kayvon talked about it just a moment ago about the attention span issue.
Yeah, consistency and watch time.
Yeah, which is why shorter generally is better, because you're rewarded for complete consumption of a video.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's like TikTok has a 3-minute max, but you better be damn interesting for somebody to watch 89% of a 3-minute video.
Exactly. I mean, usually people fall off in the first minute. So if your video is 15 seconds long, it's pretty hard for them to drop away.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, I saw one.
You just scroll, right?
Yeah.
Oh, everyone wants to scroll.
And it's funny. I saw a video the other day that one of our students did. And I was talking to her about it, and she said, I'm just not sure about this particular video. And I said, I like it. And she goes, well, why is it that you like it? I said, because I had to play it like multiple times to just catch all the captions and everything that you said in that 15-second video. And so, hey, not only do they watch it once, but they might even watch it multiple times.
Yeah,
that's the advantage out of one person.
Yeah, that's the point, because I had some videos recently and they had it's like, wait a minute, it's 123% watch time. What's that mean? It just means that they're watching it again and again
and again. So it does happen, especially if it's something that you're very wordy on in 15 seconds, and you do the captions. You got to read all of that and listen to it. You're bound to watch it more than once.
And if you put text up in different places, typically you'll see the ones where they're pointing to.
Yeah.
Thinking about this, you should do this, and maybe this, but not this.
Don't do this.
But those are harder to do. I've never done those.
I haven't either. I really try to keep things simple. Mostly because, when in most of the businesses that I've ever worked in or done, at the end of the day, you want people to look at you and say, you know what? Gosh darn it, I can do that. And that's really the key, I think, to this too. You want people to look at you and say, hey, John's doing something that's not very complicated. I think I can handle that. Maybe he's not getting the ultimate result, but he's getting a good result.
Well, as a business person, you want the exposure. I mean,
yeah.
Dr. K, what about the know, like, and trust factor? I mean, of video has been your experience? Like Zoom calls that you do. I'm sure you do client calls and
yes, that know, like, and trust is absolutely required and fundamental. And these short form videos, like what the example that John just said about the captions being valuable and going through it over time, the just the video is creating the know, like, and trust with that. So all we need is for the initial seeds to be planted. Then after that, it's a consistency of showing up to help that grow.
And you don't always have to show your face. I mean, we've talked earlier about, you can create these things in Canva with just a number of slides together if you really want to do it that way. Typically, like even like an Instagram post that's square, 800 by 800, just lengthen it and stick that in and create a video that way. Even a 5-second video is better than 0 seconds.
In fact, a lot of the stuff that I've been doing for the RV channel, I'm not showing my face, or I am for a very short period of time, and then I'm talking about what I'm working on.
Or pretty scenes, or like for John, it's like, repairs, like here's a heater core. I want to bypass the heater core. See, I actually listen to you sometimes.
Yeah, and John, I have a question for you.
It's frightening.
You were saying like you were experiencing success for the RV channel with the short videos. So what are the things that you look at? Is it number of views? Is it interactions? How do you what is it that you see that you say, okay, this has been successful?
I think it's kind of all of the above. I haven't done all that many videos for that channel yet, mostly because mentally I was trying to wrap my head around how I wanted to organize it. And so, but as Dr. V said to me the other day, he's like, we can compare your channel to people who've done a lot more videos than you, and you've got a lot more views.
Yeah, he had more views than people who have many more videos. I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting. So, I mean, we compared it to a channel of a friend of ours who has, 200 or 300 videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got maybe a dozen.
You have more you have almost the same number of followers, by the way, and tons of likes and stuff. I thought that was really interesting.
Right. So I just, I guess it just means I'm in a good niche.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. The whole RV thing. There's so many RV enthusiasts, and they're looking for information on repairs. They're looking for information on where to go. They're looking for pretty scenery, all that kind of stuff. And occasionally they may want a chicken video. So.
You never know.
That's what you get. You get the occasional chicken video on.
Or to see how many eggs I've got left when I've left for the weekend.
Did you make the frittata? No.
No. I did the other
Then you
night.
do a video on the frittata. These are things that you can make when you go on a long trip. You can keep it in the fridge.
There's so many things you can do when you're working in my plate. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Because you got cooking, you've got homeschool, you've got so many different items that's repairs, so many things to talk about.
And gas prices have come down significantly. So
they have, which is very exciting. I saw somebody said their gas prices were like down as low as $2.95 yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. We're still at the $5 level around here, but that's
we're down around the $3.09, $3.19 level. But things are coming down.
In over here in Vancouver, in Canada, we have gas by the liter, not gallon, right?
Yes.
Correct. So it's about $1.29 per liter now,
and 3.8 liters per gallon.
And I have seen it as low as 49 cents about 20 years ago.
Yeah, about 20 years ago.
Hey.
Sure.
Hey,
I remember when gas was $0.25 a gallon.
Showing my age, I remember the number 23 cents a gallon.
Yes. When we were really young, when we were in school, we had to go uphill both ways.
I did go uphill both ways.
I did. You have no idea.
But then I came downhill both ways also. So.
Yes.
That too.
And it was always snowing.
It was. It was Buffalo, New York. There was a lot of snow.
We lived in New York.
John was in the same general area.
I was in the same general area. It felt like it was always snowing.
Yeah,
it's very true.
So anyway, but so the big thing about doing short form videos is that's the trend. And if you're not hopping on the trend, you're going to be left in the dust, and you'll be going through, walking to wherever you're going, uphill in a snowstorm both ways. The same story.
Yes.
It's going to be desolate for you. So you think about the things that business owners often are very confused, and they don't know what to do about this because they don't want to be. You don't want to be dancing and doing all kinds of funky stuff like that, but you don't have to, because the reality of these different platforms, Instagram, TikTok, all the others, they're rapidly aging in terms of the demographic. And so the fastest growing group on TikTok, for example, are 55-year-old plus people. And they're
That's great.
consuming a lot of video. Now, if you ever serve anybody who's older than 55 in your business, you might want to be where they're spending their time.
Yes. I was thinking about doing some dancing videos. Then there was a petition not asking me not to dance, and they would ready to pay me for not dancing.
I thought it was to pay you for not telling jokes on this.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
My hand was
right after my heart.
Yeah, right after your heart.
My hand was getting tired.
His hand was tired of the face palms. That's all.
I know.
So the thing about it is, if you don't have to be super entertaining, you just have to be consistent in what you're doing, and eventually you find your audience. And I've experienced the same thing as John, which is I had a bigger following on Instagram than TikTok. And Instagram has actually rewarded me quite a bit because I will often repurpose videos from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube Shorts. And it's so funny how the different platforms have different results. And when you get something like you were talking about, Kayvon, earlier, when you're looking for comments are amazing. Saves are phenomenal. Likes are great. Number of views are great. But when somebody shares your video with other people, that's awesome because it just spreads even more than ever before.
Right.
And so you're looking for the likes, the shares, things like that. And as long as you put a lot of value in there, and Dr. K has tons of wisdom and insights and all kinds of stuff on his Instagram posts, if those were taken and changed into, let's say, slide videos with maybe your narration, because you can do voiceovers all the time. And you've got a great voice. And so that kind of resonant voice will resonate with a lot of other people online. So
maybe that's what I should be doing this weekend.
You could do it this weekend.
Batch a bunch of them and start creating and
batch.
Have a couple of coffee.
Schedule them to show up.
Yeah. And it's you'll be surprised. It's a great little experiment. Try it for a week, try it for 2 weeks and see what happens.
All right.
A couple days.
A couple days. Yeah. 30. Let's make it 72 hours. 72 hours.
72 hours. 72-hour test.
And see what happens. But you have to play. And a lot of the stuff for business owners is they feel very uncomfortable about even looking at the platforms themselves. But a little bit of research, some YouTube. I mean, John and I even have a strategic video masters group where it's a paid group, but we hold people's hands and play with the interfaces. And play, to me, is the attitude that you have to have when you're going through learning and producing videos. But it is that consistency. Keep tickling that algorithm. Could you?
That's right.
Yes. So, but so sometimes you need guidance. That's for sure, especially a small business owner who maybe has a need for more leads, but high quality leads. You might as well go where people go. That's why years ago, I located my office, my chiropractic office in the DC area, right across from a major mall. This is now like one of these Westfield shopping centers. And I mean, my sign was seen constantly with people sitting at the light, trying to get out of the mall, and people who were sitting at the light, trying to get past the mall. And so I can't overemphasize, people go where people go. And when the major source of traffic is short form video, you better be there or be left in the dust. And I know it's uncomfortable, but anything new is going to be uncomfortable.
It's not that uncomfortable.
That's so true. Yes. Anything new is going to be uncomfortable. And actually, I think I mentioned this in some of the videos. When we start something new at the beginning, it's unbearable.
Right.
Then we work on it and becomes uncomfortable, and we keep the consistency up, and eventually we become unstoppable. So the 3 days of unbearable, uncomfortable to unstoppable.
I like that. Those are the good uns.
And the
last one's the good one.
And as I say, it's way less uncomfortable when you got people doing it with you.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
That takes care of the unbearable and the uncomfortable, and helps you get right to the good stuff.
Yeah, I've used to tell my patients and some
of my ring kind of a situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I've told a number of my patients and some of my coaching clients, if you ever talk about the jumping out of your discomfort zone, get out of it and that sort of thing. I just say no. You need to jump into your discomfort zone to get the fastest results. It's like me jumping out of an airplane years and years ago, solo skydiving. It was like that really helped me overcome any fear of heights. Like I can be in a 100-story building looking down over the ledge or so, and it doesn't bother me nearly as much as it did maybe 3-4 decades ago.
I could never understand jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Well, if you want to get down and get funky, you get down faster in some ways. If you
How
jump
do
out
you
of
justify getting on an airplane?
Well, justifying
I
on
know.
it. Some people will never get on an airplane, and you have that systematic desensitization programs in psychology to get them used to. They
Yeah.
take them on board the plane while it's at the gate, and then they come back, and some other time maybe get them to use the lavatory on the plane, and some other time eventually get to the point where they're taxiing and come back to the gate, and before you know it, then they're at some point they're able to do takeoff, but then they
Then they
may
get
freak
'em
out
a-
about landing. So that's
Then they
that's
get
a
him a
hard one.
support animal like a pet peacock or something.
Pet peacock. Those are rough. Pet snakes. I never understood this. Here's my pet boa constrictor. It's like, how do they allow
Never
that?
figured that one out.
I would like to have a pet armadillo.
A pet armadillo.
That would be interesting.
And then you can grow your business to scale.
Yes, there you go.
Scales. No, scales. Sorry.
Yes.
So John, what would you recommend as some of the first steps for somebody? I mean, you talk about organizing your stuff and your thoughts. Do you want to create scripts? Do you want to create certain words? Do you want cards? What are you looking for to create short form videos?
Well, I think the very first thing you want is to think about the areas that people ask you the most questions in. And then you kind of go from there. You can go and you can do some keyword research and see what other questions people ask about your topic. You can go with questions that you get from clients and viewers. So, I mean, there's a lot of different angles, but typically once you start down one and you start putting some of those questions together, it's very easy to continue down that line up and create a nice little matrix for yourself of questions to talk about. So you should never really run out of stuff to talk about.
No, well, you're not going to run out of stuff. But I think scripts for me they come across as very, very artificial.
They do.
And so the most I probably ever do is maybe put up 3 to 5 bullet points on a little 3x5 card. I still use paper, folks.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have the Apple Notes thing. And sometimes it's just a single sentence. And then I just riff off of that. But I like the FAQ thing, John, because, people have a lot of questions like, how long will my first visit be? Like, the doctor's office, how long will my first visit be? Do you, let's say you're the dentist, do you do crowns? How much do you, and, they always want to know the how much does it cost thing. But I think for a lot of businesses, they try to avoid the how much does it cost, or that you can just give a range, if it's an uncomplicated case, maybe it's $800. If it's more complicated, maybe we need to put some bone grafts or something. Maybe it's going to be $2,000. I really don't know until I see you.
And
and about 3 weeks ago, we had that episode of talking about how to come up with ideas. So I think we had some great topics discussed over there. And what John said about not ever running out of things to say, all we need is about, 90 days or 100 days of content, and it can go back because so many people, they haven't seen previous videos. We think we already said that, I can't say that again, but for so many people, it's going to be new content again. So there is nothing wrong with recycling the material we have had and add to it all the time, but replaying the old stuff from a month or two ago, it's always a good strategy.
Yeah, a lot of people forget.
Yeah, and there's always different ways to answer the same question. It's kind of funny. We often say to our students when they first get started, hey, you're going to be bad at this when you first get going.
Case in point, right here.
Yeah, until you make your first 100, 200 videos, you're gonna stink. You're gonna be lousy at this. Probably.
It may take 30. It may take more before you get your first 1,000 views on a video.
Before you get them down. It's like anything, If you go back to the first time you did anything in life, you probably were horrible at it the very first time you did it.
Oh, yeah.
And then the more you do it, the better you get. And it's the same is true here. You just have to keep plugging away at it, and the more you do it, the more you improve as time goes on.
Yep. Yes, exactly.
It was like
almost anybody who's
what?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then you don't think about it. It's like you're on autopilot. You're unconsciously competent.
Yeah, I like that whole transition between conscious incompetent. Actually, the worst one is unconscious incompetent.
Exactly.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
It's probably the worst. And
then that's probably how you're going to be when you first get started.
Oh yeah, like what do I do? What do I press? I can tell you right now, like when it came to things like TikTok and all, trying to create something, I didn't know where the buttons were. I couldn't even find the buttons. But now I can find the buttons and push them and do things. But I mean, it was
it's
just
easy.
crazy. And these platforms change all the time too, which is why we always recommend somebody
Oh, yeah.
you consulting with somebody as a guide, at least, who keeps abreast of the latest changes.
Exactly.
Because sometimes the platforms, they'll change week to week, or depending on what region you are in. Canadians have different features than Americans, who have different features than Norwegians, who have different features than Germans. It's
Oh,
nuts.
I didn't know that the features
It
they change by
Yeah.
geographical.
it depends on where they decide to roll these features out, which is really kind of wild. And are you actually playing on the platforms, whether it's Instagram or YouTube Shorts or TikTok or whatever? When you are consistently putting out content, you sometimes are rewarded with additional features that even people in your same neighborhood don't get.
Hmm.
We found that out recently.
Yeah.
Did you get the notification about Instagram groups?
Instagram groups. No, I don't recall that.
Yeah,
What's that
so
all about?
that's an example. The other day I had this thing about Instagram groups
Hmm.
and create a group and name your group and put an admin. So
Oh,
Really?
yeah. You know what? I
feature
actually
that's
did
coming
that
up.
today. I started to create a group, and I'm like, "What's this?"
How did I not get? Is it in Business Manager in Facebook, or is it on Instagram itself?
Yeah, yeah, because
No, I got it on Instagram and I do have a business account, right? So
Yeah.
right.
it allowed me to create. There was a bug with at the beginning with choosing the name, but yeah,
Mhm.
now you can have groups on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I did that by accident today. I got it with Dr. Vogelmann in my group, and of course he wasn't around at the time, but
Well,
and so there you go. And so then I was like, okay, what do I do with this? So there's
very
often,
interesting.
so that brings up the next fear that
Yeah.
people have when they get started, and that's the technology. Because
Yeah.
here we are. Here's the thing that all three of us we sort of know about, but we don't really know about, and we don't even really know how it works yet. And that's kind of the
US
way.
Canadian thing.
It's a
No, that's
Canadian.
the U.S.
There's
Canadian thing.
moose. There are moose about
This,
involved.
this is just a thing that
Yes.
occurs, and so it's common for us to get new features, new things that pop up, or
Yeah.
if we're getting started, we probably don't even know how anything works yet. So
Yeah.
that's why it's great to have a trusted guide who can kind of guide you along, and
Yeah.
that's part of what we do is help people along with that process.
Well, and a real strategy and have the tactics in place. I love the idea, Dr. K is talking about having 90 days worth of content ready to roll out. I can tell you
Yeah.
that I've done in general, I would say a minimum of one video per day, short form video, for probably, I want to say about 260 days or so.
Yeah, well,
And
about right.
that's been really something, because but also one of the things that you can consider is that well, they're not allowing me to get out of my own way here. That's kind of crazy. Oh well. TikTok's not behaving. They want me to create something right now, and I don't want to do it right now because I'm talking to you.
Right.
Full
But
attention.
But I would
Even
say,
more-
there's a draft section. I have probably at any given time anywhere from 300 to 320 drafts. Now, are they all finished videos that I'm going to upload? No. I'll just take little short snippets at the beach, or I see something interesting like a bus going by, or who knows. But I save them for later, because then I'll think, well, it was interesting visually. I can repurpose it and put a message behind it, and then just release it and see what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And John's got tons of this kind of content.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is, what's your workflow going to be like?
Right.
So, for instance, you do all of your creation predominantly in the app itself.
Yep.
I do most of my creation because I don't have internet when I'm doing it. I may be someplace that doesn't have internet, so I'm just doing it directly onto my camera as video content and uploading it and using the interfaces later. And there's also tools that you can use that help you distribute it.
Yeah.
Very simply.
Yeah, we cover a lot of that stuff. There are automations you can put in place, but it is always good to have your standard operating procedure, the particular workflow that's going to make things easy for you as a business owner.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of tools, I have a question. So
Yeah.
when we publish the content to multiple platforms, now we need to end up monitoring all of them for the comments and feedbacks and that sort of thing. Is there a tool that all of those messages from different platforms all come to the same place?
Well, it's funny you say that. That's my biggest secret. If I were to tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Shh.
No, just kidding.
You'll have
But-
to
but-
come behind the paywall. To
Story of my life.
No, but there are tools, of course, that you can use to go from one platform to another, but it doesn't necessarily remove there's watermarks in place. There's a lot of things that you have to consider and kind of walk through and see if it's going to take care of all those other issues for you as you do it.
Well, I
But-
understand. Each of these platforms want you to stay on their platform. They want
They
you
do.
to stay on
Yeah.
TikTok, stay on
Yep.
Instagram, stay.
Show
on
us how many unopened email you have.
how many what?
Was that 28,000?
No,
Well,
no, the emails. Yeah, it's usually 28,000. Yeah,
Oh my God.
I'm not a zero inbox person. That's for sure.
Yeah, why not?
What I do is I do mass deletions. So I will
know what?
delete
That's,
I will
that
delete
could be an
8,000
episode.
at a time, for example.
That could be an episode on the Do It Now show for all the people that they want to get to inbox zero.
Well,
we
but
bring their inbox on the screen and we get it to zero.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
actually sometimes I will delete all of the promotions. So I kind of want to monitor what other marketers are doing and see what it is. And then I get to the point where, I click a few of them. Yeah, this one's interesting. This one's not. And then I go through and I'll just delete like 7,000 promotions at one time.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And right now I just haven't done it in several weeks since we moved. So they're just
Mm.
accumulating, they're getting dust on my phone. So
Once I worked with a client, he had, I think, around 130,000 emails
Mhm.
in his
Mm.
inbox, and it was overflowing. So we worked at it and we put the protocols and the systems and deletions and all of that. I think after like 20, 30 minutes, he got to only 30 emails that he
Wow.
needed to pay attention to, and the rest of them they were taken care of.
It's
I
pretty
just keep
good.
getting more drive space.
More
Yeah.
drive space.
Just-
No, I've deleted whole things. I think I was actually thinking of deleting an entire account, which represents 10,000 emails. Yeah, just gone.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, well, if you are a hoarder, you're going to be a hoarder anyway. It doesn't matter if you move.
doesn't matter doesn't matter where
Love my books.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
I don't think of it as so much as hoarding because I actually have used things in here. I went
Oh,
through a number of these books a couple months ago to do some research, and I actually went through 12 different books looking for something. And I thought to myself, had I actually dumped these according to my wife's preference, I would not have had access to them, not even online, because a lot of this stuff is out of print.
Sure.
Yes.
So I thought to myself, well, that's just a great way of rationalizing my emotional attachment. So
Hmm.
As long as you know.
I know there's value. In fact, I've even thought of a great way to create content for weekly stuff is just take one book of the week or
Yeah.
one chapter out
Sure.
of one book and just talk about the concept that's in there rather than having to always think about, well, what am I going to talk about next? What am I going to talk about next? Just pull
Or make
something off.
several.
I mean, if people hate bad puns, there's always the Pun Also Rises book. And
That's
so
right.
it's like, it's just, there's so many from philosophy to anatomy. I just pull out something and show neuroanatomy of the spine or so.
And that could be a great channel around any topic, but let's say for us, for business or marketing.
Yeah.
What I have learned this week.
What I've learned this week. I think
Yes.
that's a great idea. In fact, that would make a great 15-second video for you, Dr. Kayvon K.
Mhm. It
Of
would.
Simplify.zone, because you're never alone with Simplify.zone, and Profit Finder, because you'll be kinder when you use Profit Finder.
There you go. Thank you.
All right.
A perfect plug.
I don't know where that came from. Anyway, it's the voices in my head. Don't worry about it. So, John, what other advice would you give to people? We talk about all the time, how this is basically
do.
people overbuying equipment, and this is a broadcast studio in your hand.
That's right. There's really no reason to overbuy equipment. In fact, and until you get good at
Yeah.
what you're doing, there's really no reason to do it right away. And so many times we get wrapped up with, oh, I need that. I need lighting. I need, I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, oh, I need lights. I got to have different lights because I want to look, like well lit. And it's true. I mean,
if I drink enough beer, I become well lit.
You could be well lit. Yes, exactly. But
light beer.
Doesn't be light beer. No, strong. Go for the good stuff. Usually
right.
Canadian beer is stronger. So I recommend, if you're going to get Brador, for example, it's no longer in existence, I think. Bring your beer in from Canada. So,
Well, I don't drink. I wouldn't know.
oh, well, there you go. Well,
And I'm not a good Canadian either. Like, for example, I know the plural for goose is geese, but I'm not sure what the plural for moose is.
Moose.
Is it mooses?
same with deer. What's the
It's
plural
moose.
of deer?
Moose.
Deer.
More moose.
More moose. More moose.
More
Mooses.
moose.
Mooses.
Moose.
Meese.
Extra moose.
Meese. No, meese are mine. Mio, 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 mio. I wish I was in Ohio. Hey, so the
They're
broadcast
big.
studio, people overbuy equipment. We know that too. And
Yeah.
and lighting.
They
That's a
do
big one.
like them.
Somebody told me the other day that they needed $300 worth of lights. And I was like, what? Are you out of
God.
your mind?
Somebody
So-
told me they needed $1,000 worth of lights.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, see, and by the way, you do overbuy. We all do. We overbuy equipment. And I'll
Yeah.
give you a great example here, right now. This microphone, this Heil P40 microphone, or is it P42? P40.
PR40.
PR40. Okay.
You're welcome.
This one, I bought this like 5 years ago because I was going to do a podcast. Did I do the podcast? No. But
you're
eventually
gonna
I
now.
used it. Well, yeah, well, I'm doing it now. But eventually doing live streaming is what I wound up using the microphone for. And that was
Right.
with John back in March of 2020. We started doing it regularly. I did
Probably
do
good.
live streaming before that. But this thing was gathering dust. It was like $400 of wasted
Dumb.
money.
Yeah, I think I bought my Yeti in 2013.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's almost 9 years now.
I get a
There you
great
go.
deal on my Yeti, so I really can't.
Yeah, he's got a great deal. We don't go into that right now, but if you
No,
tune
but
in some other
right.
time, we'll talk about the Blue Yeti
Well,
story.
I could tell you
Yeti.
so many stories about equipment. It's
Yeah,
hysterical.
but people. John is like the he's like the help desk for lots of people, and
Like the
sometimes they
technical
wind up,
guru to the stars.
yes, the guru to the stars.
So
Oh man, so where are we now at this
Or
point?
maybe the technical start to the gurus.
maybe
Yeah, he is. He just did a lot of behind the curtain. I was going to say behind the Iron Curtain. Those were my relatives, but type of thing, where he's in the background trying to help with these launches and other things like that and make them successful. But he's more the technical help and the guy who keeps the engine running. So
in a lot of cases.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
true.
And we are over 30 minutes now.
well, there you go. See, I thought I was squinting over there, but I have this light, this fancy light. It is
Yeah.
merely an LED light. And it was given by my brother-in-law as a gift one Christmas. So I don't have any fancy lights. Actually, that's a lie. I have a package of lights, a whole light kit with a green screen and everything. I never have opened in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
So
Common. It's common.
it's
I
very
see
common.
people- Yeah.
And I mean, the quality of the camera, the quality of the audio, the quality of this internet, this is a broadcast studio. Start with what you have and create things. They're going to be terrible at the beginning. It's okay. If you really want to see somebody who's a master of social media, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary's videos from long ago when he was doing wine videos on YouTube, he admits are horrific, but he always recommends that people go back and look at his bad videos so they feel better about themselves when they're starting out.
Exactly. If you want to know what your iPhone looks like inside,
Yeah, it's just John's. He likes a case that has for his X-ray vision. So
that's my son.
exactly. So we did have a topic that Dr. Kayvon K and I were talking about last week. I forgot about the topic, but we will cover that next week. And that topic is Dr. K.
The 80-20 rule and how to
Yes.
apply it to growing your business.
Wow.
Yes, and mine is the 95.5 because I used to go up and down Interstate 95 on the East Coast. Now I go up and down Interstate 5 on the West Coast. So that's my rationale. But it actually, what is the 5%? Mine is the 20% of the 20%.
I am so glad that the math worked out.
It all worked out. It all worked out. There are no accidents. It was fate. So speaking of fate, don't leave it up to fate for you to create your short form videos. Start today. Remember to play. And as I often say, have fun while you get this stuff done. And we will be back next week. We'll be back this next week with the 80-20 rule. Dr. K is going to take you to school on that rule. All right. Have a great